Welcome to the Confident Speaking Podcast. I'm Julia, your host, and I'm excited to have you here today. Whether you're a longtime listener or just discovering us, this show is all about helping you speak English with confidence and fluency. We bring you fresh, practical content every day to help you sound more natural, feel more comfortable in your English conversations, and most importantly, develop the right mindset for language learning success. Because speaking English confidently isn't just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about believing in yourself and shifting your perspective on what it means to communicate effectively. Here's something that might surprise you. What if the thing you've been desperately searching for is sitting right there in your life already? I'm talking about happiness, that sense of peace, and yes, even confidence when you speak English. What if instead of being somewhere out there in the future, it's actually woven into your everyday moments, just waiting for you to pause and really see it? Think about how much energy we pour into chasing the next thing: a promotion, more income, fluent English, social media validation, the perfect physique. But here's a thought. What if we've been searching in all the wrong places? Today, we're diving deep into something that goes way beyond feel-good quotes about gratitude. We're exploring how genuinely appreciating what's already in your world can revolutionize not just your mindset, but transform how you approach learning, speaking, and mastering English. If you're exhausted from constantly feeling like you're lagging behind, this conversation is exactly what you need. So, here's what puzzles me. Why do so many of us find it incredibly difficult to feel genuine thankfulness, even though we intellectually understand its value? I've spent considerable time pondering this. We're bombarded with messages about gratitude being transformative. We see the inspirational posts everywhere. Count your blessings. Live with appreciation. Gratitude is the key to everything. Yet, most people find themselves struggling to actually experience it authentically. What's going on here? The reality is that our culture never stops broadcasting one message. What you have isn't sufficient. No matter where we turn, something catches our attention and highlights what we lack: a more impressive home, a more adventurous lifestyle, flawless English pronunciation, a larger online following, a more attractive appearance. Gradually, this creates a belief that there's always something essential missing from our lives. When your attention is constantly drawn to what's absent, you lose the ability to recognize what's already present and valuable. This is precisely why gratitude isn't simply an emotion that happens to you. It's actually a capability that requires development. Just like mastering English, it demands consistent practice, dedicated effort, and honestly, it requires bravery. Being genuinely thankful means choosing to slow your pace, staying grounded in the present moment, and paying attention to those subtle details that most people rush past without noticing. Now you might be wondering, how exactly does practicing thankfulness connect to becoming better at English? This is such a fascinating question because the relationship runs much deeper than most people realize. Gratitude and language acquisition are intricately woven together. When you develop appreciation for your progress, regardless of how gradual it might seem, you automatically release internal pressure. You create mental space that allows you to actually enjoy the learning process rather than just endure it. Consider this perspective. When your focus stays locked on how much further you need to travel, frustration becomes inevitable. You start believing you're not advancing quickly enough, and that frustration becomes a motivation killer. However, when you consciously shift that focus and acknowledge things like, actually, I comprehend significantly more than I did months ago. I managed to have an entire conversation in English last week. I listened to that challenging podcast episode and understood most of the content. Something powerful happens. You experience genuine pride. You feel connected to your own growth journey, And that emotional connection becomes the fuel that drives you to continue pushing forward. I've observed countless learners over the years, and there's a stark difference between those who fixate on their errors and those who celebrate their victories. The confidence gap between these two groups is absolutely remarkable. One group remains trapped in self-doubt, while the other discovers freedom to express themselves. Gratitude keeps you emotionally invested in the learning process itself, and that's precisely where authentic learning takes root and flourishes. But is there actual scientific evidence that practicing thankfulness can physically change your brain? Or are we just talking about nice-sounding theories? The research is absolutely compelling and very real. Extensive studies in both psychology and neuroscience demonstrate that consistent gratitude practice literally rewires neural pathways in your brain. It fundamentally shifts where your attention goes, significantly reduces anxiety levels, and enhances your brain's capacity to process new information with clarity and calmness. For anyone learning a language, this neurological shift is incredibly valuable. When anxiety dominates your mental state, or you're constantly criticizing your performance, your brain activates what researchers call the stress response, the fight or flight mechanism. During these heightened stress states, clear thinking becomes nearly impossible. Words disappear from memory, you freeze up during conversations, you feel completely stuck. But when you cultivate calmness, when you feel emotionally safe and genuinely encouraged, your brain opens up like a flower. That's precisely when vocabulary flows naturally, when sentences construct themselves effortlessly, when using English becomes genuinely enjoyable rather than terrifying. So this isn't just about feeling better emotionally. Gratitude actually optimizes your brain's learning environment. It literally creates superior conditions for language acquisition to occur. But what happens when you simply don't feel thankful? What if you're trapped in frustration, or you're just completely exhausted from trying? Then you're experiencing something completely human. And I want you to know that's absolutely valid. Life genuinely becomes difficult sometimes. There are periods when you're worn out from constant effort, when it feels like nothing's really changing, when you feel inadequate or perpetually behind everyone else. During these challenging moments, having someone tell you to just practice gratitude can feel incredibly hollow and inauthentic. But here's what I've learned. Genuine gratitude has nothing to do with pretending your circumstances are perfect. It's about training yourself to notice what remains good and solid, even when everything else feels chaotic or difficult. You don't need to force artificial smiles or create elaborate gratitude lists. Simply pause for a moment. Take a gentle look around your immediate environment. Did you wake up this morning? Has anyone offered you even a small gesture of kindness today? Can you understand these English words I'm speaking right now? If any of these things are true, then something worthwhile exists in your experience. Gratitude begins with the smallest possible acknowledgments. One conscious breath, one quiet moment of awareness, one tiny recognition that says, I'm still here. I'm still making an effort to learn and grow. That effort has meaning and value. You don't need to feel overwhelmed with thankfulness every single moment, but you can choose to practice it gently, especially during the hardest times. Sometimes that simple choice creates a shift that changes everything else. Here's a crucial misconception I want to address. Does embracing gratitude mean you should abandon your ambitions? Should you just accept everything exactly as it is and stop striving for improvement? This is such a vital question because many people misunderstand what gratitude actually means. Sometimes there's this assumption that being grateful equals giving up. Like saying, well, I'm thankful for what I have, so I guess I'll just settle for mediocrity and stop growing. But that's not gratitude at all. That's resignation disguised as contentment. Authentic gratitude doesn't extinguish your ambition. It provides clean, sustainable fuel for it. When you operate from a foundation of thankfulness, you're not driven by fear or feelings of inadequacy. You're not desperately trying to prove your worth or frantically chasing someone else's definition of success. Instead, you're growing from a place of inner stability and peace. Think of it like tending a garden. If you despise the soil you're working with, if you rage at the sun for not shining perfectly, if you resent every drop of rain that falls, nothing healthy can take root and flourish. But when you appreciate the ground you're standing on, when you nurture what's already growing with patience and care, something beautiful gradually emerges and thrives. So absolutely maintain your gratitude practice and absolutely keep pushing yourself to grow. These aren't opposing forces. They're collaborative partners working together. This brings up another important question. Is it possible to feel genuinely grateful for your current situation while still desiring more for your future? Not only is this possible, but it's actually the ideal balance to strive for. Practicing gratitude doesn't require you to stop dreaming or planning. It simply means your dreams don't control your emotional well-being or define your self-worth. You can feel deep appreciation for your current English abilities, your present job situation, your life as it exists today, while simultaneously working toward bigger goals and improvements. Imagine your life journey this way. You've already traveled an incredible distance from where you started. You've taken countless steps, made numerous mistakes that taught you valuable lessons, acquired knowledge and skills you didn't possess before. Gratitude is your way of saying, look at how much I've already accomplished and learned. Ambition is your way of saying, and I'm genuinely excited about what comes next. When you blend these two perspectives together, you discover balance. You find peace. So absolutely love and appreciate your current life while actively building toward your future vision. For someone who's never practiced gratitude deliberately, how do you actually begin? This is such a practical question, and I appreciate it because starting any new habit can feel overwhelming, especially something as personal and internal as gratitude. The secret is beginning with almost ridiculously small steps. You don't need to write extensive journal entries or commit to hour-long meditation sessions. Simply choose one moment each day to genuinely notice something positive, regardless of how minor it might seem. Perhaps it's the warmth of your first cup of coffee, a colleague's encouraging comment, or even the simple fact that you can understand and engage with this English language podcast. These tiny moments of recognition accumulate and compound over time. Try posing one straightforward question to yourself daily. What went well for me today? Or, what can I genuinely appreciate about this moment? Initially, this practice might feel awkward or forced, but with consistent repetition, it becomes as natural as breathing. Your mind will gradually begin seeking out positive aspects of your experience, and before you realize it, gratitude becomes an integrated part of your daily rhythm. Here's an additional benefit. When you establish this mental habit, your English learning accelerates too, because your mind operates from a calmer, more receptive state that's optimal for absorbing new information. Now, what about those moments when you make mistakes while learning English? Can gratitude actually help during those frustrating times? This is where gratitude becomes truly powerful. Mistakes can feel incredibly discouraging, especially when you're eager to communicate clearly and confidently. But here's where perspective changes everything. Gratitude completely transforms how you interpret and respond to your errors. Instead of feeling embarrassed or defeated, you can develop appreciation for those mistakes. Why would you thank your mistakes? Because every mistake is concrete evidence that you're actively trying. Each error demonstrates that you're engaging with the learning process. When you cultivate thankfulness for your mistakes, fear of making them disappears. This means you speak more frequently, practice more consistently, and consequently learn more rapidly. Imagine if every time you made an error, you could quietly think, "Thank you, mistake. You're showing me exactly what I need to work on." That mental shift is incredibly powerful. Your mistakes transform from enemies that embarrass you into teachers that guide you, and gratitude converts them into allies supporting your growth. Is gratitude purely an internal emotional experience, or can you express it through concrete actions? The truth is, it's both dimensions working together. Gratitude certainly begins internally, within your heart and mind as you notice and appreciate your experiences. But authentic gratitude naturally expresses itself through your behavior and choices. When you genuinely thank other people, you strengthen and deepen your relationships. When you treat yourself with kindness and patience, you build unshakable confidence. You might express appreciation to teachers, friends, or even strangers who help you. You might take better care of your physical health or maintain consistent learning habits because you truly value your capabilities and opportunities. Gratitude is inherently active. It's a way of living that embodies kindness, respect, and conscious awareness. When you practice gratitude through your actions, your English conversations naturally become richer and more meaningful. You begin using courteous expressions effortlessly, demonstrating respect for others and creating genuine connections on a much deeper level. So don't limit yourself to just feeling grateful internally. Let that gratitude shine through your words and actions. What's the actual relationship between gratitude and experiencing happiness? These two states are intimately connected in fascinating ways. True happiness isn't just about momentary fun or fleeting pleasure. It's about experiencing genuine contentment and feeling good about your current circumstances and position in life. Gratitude functions like the foundation upon which happiness is built. When you consistently appreciate what you already possess, happiness grows organically and naturally. This doesn't mean ignoring real problems or pretending everything in your life is perfect. It means consciously choosing to focus your attention on what brings you joy, peace, or comfort, even when challenges exist. This conscious choice literally rewires your brain's neural pathways to notice more positive aspects of your experience, which creates a cycle that generates more happiness. For language learners, happiness is absolutely essential for success. When you genuinely enjoy the learning process, motivation sustains itself naturally, you speak with greater freedom and confidence, and you attract friendships and connections more easily. Gratitude nourishes happiness, and happiness provides the energy that drives success. Can practicing thankfulness actually reduce the stress and anxiety that often accompany language learning? Absolutely, and the mechanism is quite straightforward. Learning any new language inherently involves stress, worrying about making mistakes, struggling with pronunciation, feeling anxious about understanding others or being understood. But gratitude provides a pathway to step back from that stress response. When you consciously focus on what's functioning well, the progress you've made, the support systems you have access to, the opportunities available to you, your nervous system naturally relaxes and calms down. This relaxation response reduces cortisol production, which is your body's primary stress hormone, and this reduction directly improves both memory formation and concentration abilities. Essentially, practicing gratitude creates an optimal internal learning environment within your own mind and body. That inner calmness means you absorb new vocabulary more efficiently, you speak with greater confidence, and you enjoy the entire journey much more fully. How can gratitude help you build stronger, more meaningful relationships through your English communication? This is such a beautiful question because language learning is fundamentally about human connection, sharing ideas, emotions, and stories with other people. When you actively practice gratitude, you naturally become more open, warm, and genuinely kind. You listen with greater attention and care, you respond with authentic warmth, and you appreciate other people's efforts and contributions. This inner kindness radiates through your English communication in ways that people immediately notice and respond to positively. Gratitude helps polite expressions flow naturally from your lips. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You've been incredibly kind. When you communicate from a place of genuine gratitude, conversations become significantly more meaningful and authentic. You build trust and develop friendships much more quickly and naturally. It's a simple but powerful secret to not just learning English academically, but actually living English as a tool for creating real human connections. But what if your life feels genuinely difficult right now and you honestly can't identify anything to feel thankful for? This is such a real and valid feeling, and I want you to know it's completely okay to be in that space. Gratitude is never about forcing fake happiness or ignoring legitimate problems and pain. It's about discovering one small thing, even when everything feels heavy and overwhelming. Maybe it's simply the fact that you're breathing. Maybe it's that you woke up this morning. Maybe it's a cherished memory that still brings a tiny smile to your face. Sometimes gratitude must begin with the most basic level of survival, being thankful that you're still here, still making an effort, still trying despite everything. From that small spark of acknowledgement, you can gradually grow light in even the darkest circumstances. Even when life feels truly difficult, practicing gratitude builds resilience within you. It provides inner strength to keep moving forward, one small step at a time, one breath at a time. Can gratitude genuinely improve your confidence when speaking English? Yes, and the reason is profound. Confidence stems directly from how you perceive yourself and evaluate your progress. When you develop appreciation for your efforts and attempts, you naturally build a positive internal voice. Instead of that harsh inner critic saying, "I'm not good enough," you hear a supportive voice saying, "I'm genuinely proud of how far I've traveled on this journey." This internal kindness and encouragement naturally motivates you to speak more often, take more risks in conversations, and genuinely enjoy the process of communicating. True confidence has nothing to do with perfection. It's about accepting yourself completely and celebrating every small victory along the way. Gratitude teaches your mind to become that supportive, encouraging friend to yourself. And that internal friendship is absolutely the key to speaking English without fear or self-consciousness. Does gratitude have a real impact on your motivation for learning English? The effect is remarkable. Motivation functions like a fire. Sometimes it burns brightly and strongly. Other times it barely flickers. Gratitude serves as steady fuel for that motivational fire by consistently reminding you why you began this journey in the first place. When you appreciate the opportunity to learn, feel grateful for teachers and resources that help you, or acknowledge the progress you've already made, motivation grows stronger and more sustainable. You want to practice because you feel genuinely grateful, not because you feel pressured or obligated. That positive emotional energy maintains consistency, even during periods when learning becomes challenging or frustrating. Gratitude transforms motivation from a burdensome chore into a joyful, sustainable habit. Can gratitude help you overcome the fear that often paralyzes people when speaking English? Yes, and here's the beautiful transformation. Fear typically originates from feeling judged by others or believing you're not adequate, but gratitude fundamentally shifts your entire mindset and perspective. Instead of fearing mistakes and embarrassment, you develop appreciation for every single opportunity to practice and improve. You become genuinely thankful for your own courage to speak, regardless of how imperfect your attempts might be. That appreciation and self-compassion naturally reduces anxiety, makes your voice steadier and more confident, and allows your authentic personality to shine through your words. Speaking English transforms from something scary and threatening into something enjoyable and exciting because your focus shifts from pursuing perfection to celebrating progress and effort. How can you create practical reminders to practice thankfulness throughout your busy daily life? This is such a practical concern because life becomes hectic and it's incredibly easy to forget about gratitude when you're rushing from one responsibility to another. Try establishing simple, manageable daily habits. A brief morning thought, or a quick note in a journal, or even a gentle reminder notification on your phone. For example, every morning you could ask yourself, "What am I genuinely thankful for as I start this day?" Or each evening, you could reflect on one positive thing that happened during the day. The crucial element is consistency rather than perfection. The more regularly you practice, the more natural and automatic it becomes. Eventually, gratitude will function like gentle background music in your mind, quietly guiding and influencing your daily experience in positive ways. Can gratitude help you handle criticism and feedback more effectively when learning English? Yes, and this might be the most transformative aspect of gratitude practice. Criticism can feel harsh and discouraging, but gratitude helps you hear it completely differently. Instead of feeling hurt, defensive, or inadequate, you begin to perceive criticism as a genuine gift, a valuable opportunity to improve and grow. You feel genuinely thankful that someone took their time and energy to help you become better. This appreciative attitude opens both your mind and heart, allowing you to learn much more rapidly and effectively. Gratitude transforms criticism from a wall that blocks you into a stepping stone that elevates you to the next level. What's one simple gratitude practice you can implement immediately right now as you're listening? Here's something beautifully simple. Take one slow, conscious breath. Think of one thing you feel thankful for in this exact moment. It could be something tiny and ordinary, like this present moment of learning, or your ability to understand these English words I'm speaking. Say quietly to yourself, "Thank you." Allow yourself to feel that appreciation for just a moment. That's it. No pressure, no complicated rules or requirements. Use this simple practice anytime you feel stressed, overwhelmed, or stuck. It's a tiny habit that gradually strengthens your gratitude capacity and transforms your overall mindset. And that simple practice has the power to change not only your English learning journey, but your entire life experience. And there you have it, the incredible power of gratitude to transform not just how you learn English, but how you experience your entire language journey. Remember, confidence doesn't come from speaking perfectly. It comes from appreciating how far you've already traveled and celebrating every single step forward, no matter how small. Before you go, I want you to try something right now. Think of one moment this week when you used English. Maybe you understood a song lyric, helped someone with directions, or even just listened to this entire episode. Take a second to feel genuinely proud of that moment. That's gratitude in action, and that's exactly the mindset that will carry you to fluency. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Share one thing you're grateful for in your English learning journey by leaving a comment, sending me a message, or posting on social media with the hashtag #GratefulEnglishLearner. Your story might be exactly what another learner needs to hear to keep going. And here's my challenge for you this week. Practice that simple gratitude breath we talked about. Every time you feel frustrated with your English, every time you make a mistake, every time you feel like giving up, pause, take one conscious breath, and find one tiny thing to appreciate about that moment. It could be as simple as, "I'm still trying," or "I understood that word." Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because we're releasing fresh content every single day to help you speak English with confidence. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. And if you found this helpful, please share it with a friend who's also on their English learning journey. Tomorrow, we're diving into another game-changing topic that I know you're going to love. Until then, keep practicing, keep growing, and most importantly, keep appreciating the amazing progress you're making every single day. This is Julia, reminding you that your English journey is worth celebrating. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.